Hi everyone, welcome back to your weekly audio. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most important things you can learn if you want to keep moving from burnout to balance. If you can master this one thing, it doesn't just change how you feel today, it literally changes the quality of your entire life. And that is learning how to become a state shifter. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, throughout this program, I've talked a lot about stress and how burnout isn't something that just appears overnight. It builds from hundreds, sometimes thousands of tiny moments where our nervous system never really gets the chance to recover. And we keep going and we keep pushing and we keep thinking and keep reacting until eventually our body says, that's enough. Now, there are so many different types of stress that can get us to that your body says enough place. Sometimes we think stress is just work deadlines or difficult relationships, but actually your body experiences stress from loads of different places. Some stress comes from the outside, like work, family, money, technology, noise, constant notifications, all those care and responsibilities, the pressure to be everything to everyone. Some stress is physical, lack of sleep, hormonal changes, an injury, illness, too much exercise, not enough exercise, eating on the go, never really switching off, all physical. Some stress even comes from the environment around us, like chemicals and pollution, artificial lights, living indoors, not seeing enough daylight. But one of the biggest stresses of all is the one we carry around inside our own minds, our thoughts. Now, don't hear this as blame, because life is hard and things happen and people disappoint us and pressure is real. But two people can experience exactly the same situation and have completely different experiences of it because of the meaning that they give it. One person sees challenge, another person can see catastrophe. One person sees an opportunity, another sees failure. The circumstances might be exactly the same, but the state they're in and their perception is completely different. That changes everything. Now, I love studying epigenetics because for years we were told that our genes were our destiny. Were you told if something ran in your family, that was simply your future? But now we know something so much more hopeful. We know that the environment surrounding ourselves influences how those genes are expressed. In other words, we can't change the genes we inherited, but we can influence the environment they live in, literally whether they switch on or switch off. Now, when you hear the word environment, you might be thinking about where you live. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the environment inside your body, the chemical environment that you create every day, because every thought creates chemistry in your body. Every emotion changes chemistry. Every stressful thought sends a different message around your whole body than a peaceful one. Moments of gratitude change something. Moments of worry change something at a chemical level. Your body is constantly listening. Your cells are constantly listening. And that is so empowering because it means we're not powerless. Far from it. We have influence every single day. Now, does that mean we can think ourselves out of every illness? Maybe not, although as a hypnotherapist, I see massive changes from people who literally visualize themselves well, and I've experienced it myself. But I know that life is much more complex than that. But what it does mean is that every single day we have an opportunity to create an internal environment that supports healing. That means that we are doing ourselves good. Every day we have the opportunity to either support healing or that constant survival. And that's where becoming a state shifter comes in. Because I used to think, I'll feel calmer when life becomes calmer. Anyone else think that? I'll be able to have some downtime once I've finished all of A, B, and C. I believe that once I get through this busy week, once I finish the project, once my girls get older, once all the emails are answered, everything will settle down. Then I'll feel balanced. Except, it doesn't happen, does it? There's always another busy week, another deadline, another thing to organise. Life isn't going to wait for you. It just keeps going. Then you realise, waiting for life to change before giving myself permission to feel different, that ain't going to work. Because life will always have these challenges. It will always have these different seasons to navigate. There will always be something outside of your control. What is inside your control? It's the state you choose to return to. Now remember, 2 different types of states. Parasympathetic, sympathetic, fight, flight, freeze, rest and digest. And that default state that you can go into, when you just go into that habitual stuff where you are, I tend to worry or I tend to overthink. Well, when you go into that state, that's just automatic. But you can choose your thoughts. You can choose what state you're in. You can choose to be in a calmer version of you. You can choose the you that knows rest is productive. You can choose the version of you that feels in that more calmer state. And every time you choose that state, you strengthen it and you make it easier to return to next time. You're literally teaching your nervous system a new normal. Now, don't wait until life is peaceful before allowing yourself to feel peaceful. Become the peaceful person first. We have this the wrong way around, especially in this society. We think we have to earn rest. We have to earn peace. No, the peace comes first, and then everything else is organised when you're feeling calmer. Don't wait till everyone else changes. They may be waiting years. Choose your state anyway. Your state changes everything. You can change your state with movement, with nature, with gratitude, connection, music. One thought changes your state. You become the thermostat instead of the thermometer. Stop reacting to the environment around you. Begin influencing it. Now, the word emotion, it can be thought of as energy in motion. Energy in motion. When energy keeps flowing, we feel it, we acknowledge it, we allow it to move through us. When energy gets stuck, emotions, that's often when we get stuck. Now, every emotion is welcome. This isn't about pretending you're happy all the time. That is exhausting. This is about becoming aware. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? What's this emotion trying to tell me? And then how can I allow it to move? Because neuroscience tells us something fascinating from studies that chemical rush of emotion, it lasts about 90 seconds. 90 seconds, that's it. And what often keeps that emotion going, the worry, the shame, the guilt, is us replaying the story. We think about it again and again, and then we tell someone, and then we replay the conversation on the drive home, and then we think about what we should have said. And before we know it, we spent 6 hours recreating the same chemistry that doesn't serve us over and over. Now, this isn't about pretending difficult things don't matter. Absolutely not. But it's just recognizing that in the day-to-day, I know there's going to be big things that happen, but in the day-to-day, we often have far more influence over our internal state than we were ever taught. And actually, we're not taught this stuff in schools. We should be. But your body is always listening. So when we spend long time living in stress, our nervous system remains in that sympathetic mode. It's constantly preparing, protecting. It doesn't believe it's safe enough to rest, digest, repair and recover. You've probably heard people say that disease can be thought of as dis-ease. You're out of ease. The body is no longer at ease. It's protecting, surviving, reacting. So we need to practice moments of ease where your body hears the message, it's okay now, we're safe. We can slow down, we can rest. Because those little moments matter. They accumulate, just as stress accumulates, calm accumulates. And if that's one of the biggest mindset shifts that you can make today, don't think about how do I remove every stress from my life, but instead make that mindset shift. How quickly can I return to a different state? The balanced version of you isn't someone who never gets stressed. There's someone who notices it sooner and then they catch themselves and then they shift their state. So make this into a little experiment. Notice the state you're in. And when someone sends that annoying email, when the kids are arguing, when you find yourself criticizing yourself, then you can ask yourself, what state do I want to choose to be in? Now, not when life gets easier, because you have so much more influence than you realize. One thought, one choice, one state shift. It is that simple. Become a conscious state shifter. Notice your energy, choose your energy, protect your energy. Because you are literally changing the chemistry in your brain. That changes your body and that changes the environment every single one of your cells lives in. And little by little, you move further away from that burnout and closer to the calm, healthy, balanced version of you that has been there all along. So have fun today being a state shifter.